Gamers, here we are. New year has begun, and with the new year comes new content for all your favorite games. This one today, Dead by Daylight. The developer update for January of 2021 is here. And I read it, so you don't have to. Let's get into it, let's talk about the details, and let's find what's coming brand new to DBD. The first thing that we're going to start with is the biggest change, the change that people have been calling for forever. We're looking at a rework of the clown. When I say rework, they don't go super into the details here, but there are some changes coming to the Funny Man. So the first thing that you will see is a brand new power of his called the Afterpiece Antidote. So the Afterpiece Antidote is a new throwable bottle that he has. So I don't even know if it's really a rework. They're sort of just adding a new mechanic to the clown. So the Afterpiece Antidote is a throwable bottle that the clown has where instead of it hazying your vision and slowing you down, it actually speeds you up. It gives you a 10% movement speed buff. This 10% movement speed buff will last while you're in the gas, and then it'll linger for a few seconds afterwards, just like his normal gas does. They don't go into the details as to how it will work. It appears that you'll get a prompt to throw either one bottle or the other, and you can choose to throw 4 antidotes or 4 tonics. The reload button remains the same. You'll reload all 4 bottles just as normal. You don't have to reload the 2 types of bottles separately. You'll just reload, get your 4 bottles, and then you can choose how to distribute them between the 2 types of bottles however you want. Speaking of reloading, they've also increased his reload speed. So instead of it taking 5 seconds to refill all 4 of your bottles, it will take 3 seconds. A big change, huge quality of life change, should help make him a little bit more viable. Again, the problem isn't reload speed though, the problem is his power. They've also gone through all of his add-ons and stuff, so he'll come out in the PTB sometime next week. This new version of the clown should be pretty interesting to see how he goes. Probably still going to be pretty boring, still cause a lot of headaches. Your counterplay will probably remain the same. Just drop the pallet early and try to get the gens finished before you can burn through your resources, I guess. But it'll add an interesting little twist here with how there might be some interesting plays that you can make using these new bottles. Of course, we won't know until people start pulling them off, but we'll see if the clown mains out there can get this to work more in their favor. Okay, so now on to probably the hot button topic of the update. They're changing the HUD, the heads-up display, and everybody seems to hate it. They tried to add a couple new improvements, and I actually like the changes that they made. So next to the survivor's name, you'll actually see a picture of which survivor they're playing, so you don't have to guess which survivors are left alive any longer. Also, you have a hook counter that will tick up for each hook you get to let you know how you're doing as killer. If you're playing Survivor, each survivor will have the same sort of tick system for how many times they've been hooked, so you know if someone's death hook or you know if someone hasn't been hooked at all. The main issue, and I'll put it up on screen here so you can see it, the main issue is that all of the information is thrown. It's like, it's literally all around the screen, right? You gotta look to the bottom left to see your perks. You gotta look bottom middle to see your button inputs for your power. You gotta look bottom right to see like your inventory, how many hatchets you've got left. You gotta look top right to see all the survivors and their information. And then you gotta look top center to see how many generators are left. This appears to be the biggest issue that people have with it. I think the changes that they made were good. I don't think they need to smear the information all over the screen. If they can, I think that they did this. I honestly think that the main reason they did this was to give people like more freedom on where to put their webcams while they're streaming the game. Because they even mentioned that in the dev update, talking about leaving clear spots for people to put their cameras without blocking important information. But they really need to centralize this information the way it was before. Or maybe not. Maybe give you the option. Maybe make it fully customizable. Let me put the HUD elements wherever we want on the screen. But having them smeared everywhere is not the move. And people have been letting them hear about it today on Twitter. Another small change they made is the visuals for survivor movement, for character model movement have changed. They claimed that it won't affect actual movement itself, the inputs, the speed, your turn rates, acceleration. They say that none of that has been touched and it all should remain exactly the same. The new animations is all that's different. I don't have faith. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have faith. I think we might get in the PTB and it is what it is. They had a little video, and I'll play it now so you guys can see some of the different animations that they're talking about. They're just trying to make the game look a little bit more smooth, add a little bit of realism, make it feel less video gamey. And if it works, if they didn't change any of the actual movement, then sure, it's beautiful. We also got another mention of the skill-based matchmaking coming again. So the current ranking system will be pushed aside. It won't be used for matchmaking. The rank system will just be used for like post-season rewards. You'll get a certain amount of blood points depending on how high you finish in the ranks. And then each time rank reset comes, you'll get reset all the way back to 20. I don't know if they made it easier to climb rank, but they said you'll get reset to rank 20 every single month. They said each month you'll be given your blood points based on where you finished and kicked back to 20. So I don't know how much you'd have to play to climb from rank 20 to rank 1 every single month. We'll see what kind of changes they make to the actual pip system and how, in terms of climbing rank, we'll see. But they're trying to bring back the skill-based matchmaking that they tested last year that really didn't do well. It didn't go over well with the community. We'll see what kind of changes they made and if it'll come back around better this time. I'm actually looking forward to it. I hate the rank system currently. It's useless. It's garbage. One of the main issues that I have with this game is their rank system and how they use it for matchmaking. We'll go into that in another video that I have planned probably for next week, but hopefully skill-based matchmaking can fix some of those issues for me. They also teased the new graphics updates. They're tackling either Crotus Pin or the game next. Personally, I would love for them to hit the game first. That map could really use a little touch-up. It's really dark. It's a clusterfuck. I played on it again last night, and of the two maps, I really hope that they touch the game first. I'll show you some of the screenshots here for that and Crotus Pin. They look really, really nice. I hope that they play as well as they look in practice. Okay, and we got through all the major stuff, and all of this other stuff is listed in the miscellaneous category, but this stuff right here is honestly the stuff I'm most excited for in the whole patch, okay? So a couple small tweaks to specific killers and specific perks and specific game mechanics that I actually like all of them, and I'm really excited for these. So first off, Wraith gets a really nice buff. His invisibility, when he's invisible, it's almost easy to see him from a distance shimmering. So they've changed that. So now if Wraith is invisible, if he's cloaked, he's completely invisible from 24 meters and farther away, right? If he's farther than that, you can't see him at all, no matter how much he moves, no matter if he's out in the middle of the open. And then if he's between 24 and 16 meters, he's somewhat visible. So they're gonna make him a little bit harder to see than base cloaked Wraith is right now. And then if he's within 16 meters of you, then no matter what, if he's within 16 meters of you, then he'll look the same as he does right now. Nothing will have changed. So I really like that. Wraith needs a little bit of help, and honestly, something as small as this, I think it's a masterpiece. Very well done. That was a great change that I honestly wasn't even prepared for. The second update that they came out with was for the Trapper, and this is another thing that's just like a really nice quality of life change that would just kind of take a little bit of the RNG out of the game, right? So right now, if you get stuck in a trap, you have a 25% chance of escaping every time you hold M1 and initiate the escape trap function. 25% chance. So what that means is that if you do 4 attempts in a row, you have a roughly 68% chance of getting out within those 4 attempts, right? But as we all know, the RNG in this game is very, very sporadic, so a lot of times you could try to get out of the trap 10 times and you'd still be stuck in it, and a lot of times you'd be out of the trap on your first try. It seemed like there was no middle ground. Every time I played Trapper, man, it seemed like everybody always gets out first trap, Every time I played against a trapper, seems like nobody got out on their own. So they tried to take some of this RNG out, and so it's now more of a flat distribution. So what you're looking at is your first 3 attempts to escape the trap, you have a little bit of a lower chance to escape than before this patch. When you hit the 4th attempt, your chance to get out of the trap is just about the same as normal, and then attempts after 4, you have a much greater chance of getting out, and you will get out for sure on the 6th attempt no matter what, unless the killer has unless the killer has add-ons that will increase that number beyond 6. I don't know what those are. They didn't tell us. They just teased that some add-ons will do that. Secondly, they made a change to the deep wound status effect. So all of your borrowed time procs, all of your Legion players, all of your Deathslinger players, this will affect you. 30-second timer is too generous, they say. I agree, especially since you can sprint around without the timer decreasing at all. So they've decreased that timer from 30 seconds down to 20 seconds. Regardless if it's Legion, BT, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. It's 20-second timer. They wanted to shorten the timer, and honestly, I think 20 seconds is still a little bit too long. The issue is they can't make it shorter than that, because if you're in Tier 3 Madness against a doctor, you have to snap out first before you can mend. And so they can't make the mend timer shorter than the duration that it takes you to snap out of it, because then Doctor would just be unbelievably strong if you can get people into deep wound. So they had to leave it long enough so that you can still get out of Tier 3 Madness before mending yourself out of deep wound. I would like to see it lower than 20, but then you'd have to rework how Doctor's Madness works. So now a couple small changes. Diversion, Pebble, the Pebble perk that everybody loves. You don't have to be in the terror radius as long now to get your diversion proc. They didn't give us a specific time, they just said they shortened the timer, so you'll get more diversion procs throughout the game. Everybody loves more diversion. And Fixated, this little nugget here was probably my favorite part of the entire dev update. The way they worded this was really funny. But Fixated, you now will walk faster even when you're injured, not just when you're healthy, which makes sense. That was a silly thing. All right, and now what everyone has been waiting for, the Undying change. Hex Undying has been changed, it has been nerfed. It's not dead, it'll still be strong. They tried to balance it without killing it, and in theory, it sounds like they did a decent job. So before, anytime you popped a Hex totem, that totem would just change to a Dull totem and you would lose any stacks that you had gained on it, which made any Hex perk that used stacks, Devour, Lullaby, Third Seal, not very useful to run with Undying. However, Hex perks that didn't use stacks, Ruin, and Blood Favor, Retribution, those Hex perks all worked well with Ruin. So you saw people using no Hex perks that use stacks and only Hex perks that don't use stacks. And so they tried to tweak it in a way to make it viable for all Hex perks while also not being insanely strong for the perks that don't have stacks. So what they did is anytime that a Hex totem is cleansed, it will move and replace Hex Undying. So when you run Undying, it's impossible for the first Hex totem that's popped to be your original Hex perk. Hex Undying will always be the first Hex perk popped, and then they'll have to pop your Hex perk a second time to actually get the perk removed out of the game. So Ruin will last you a little bit longer. And then here's the best part. Tokens that you've already accumulated are kept and will transfer to the new Hex totem. So if you have 3 stacks of Devour Hope and they cleanse your Devour Hope will then replace Undying on the map somewhere and you will keep your 3 stacks of Devour Hope. If you have 5 stacks of Huntress Lullaby and all of the default Meg skins are failing skill checks left and right, and they pop Lullaby will transfer to Undying and you will keep all 5 of your stacks. So neither totem on the map will be technically classified as Undying or Lullaby. Whichever totem gets cleansed first will be the Undying that gets removed, and then your Hex perk will still be standing somewhere else. Okay, and then a few small changes. Iron Maiden, the exposed status effect has been doubled from 15 seconds to 30 seconds, which is good because no one got Iron Maiden hits. I hope the 30 seconds isn't too long. We'll see how it goes with the PTB. But as it stands now, Iron Maiden was basically only used by Huntress players to increase their reload speed. So maybe this will give it a little bit more viability. Open-handed got changed. So before, open-handed was really only worth it if you had a full team that was stacking it. They've changed it now to where you get more range on your aura reading. So a fully leveled open-handed will give you extra 16 meters of aura reading. However, you can only be affected by one open-handed perk at a time. So the whole lobby can't stack open-handed anymore. Last but not least, Second Wind, one of my actual favorite perks. I love Second Wind. Right now, I think it takes 30 seconds for you to heal after you get unhooked. This change will make it shorter. You just heal faster. So those are the patch notes for the dev update. That PTB should be coming out soon. Very excited to try some of these changes. The clown update seems interesting. The heads-up display update. We'll see how that looks in practice. Maybe we can get them to change it or give us a little bit more options on it. The locomotion update, man, I really hope they didn't fuck survivor movement. We'll see. We'll see what's going on there. And then the matchmaking isn't coming out on this PTB, but it's coming soon. And I hope that I'm holding on for dear life that change goes the way that I really hope it does. Okay, so. All right, go ahead and hit me up in the comments below. Let me know which changes you liked, which changes you didn't like, what changes you want to see in future updates, what perks you love running that you wish were a little bit stronger, what perks you hate that you wish were a little bit weaker. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, and I have got a banger of a video coming tomorrow. You won't want to miss it, okay? But that's going to do it for me tonight, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Peace. Where are you going, dude?